Another version, the arms going back, seeking to find the coil and springs that will lengthen the front, but keep the shoulders configured. The forward bend. Adding some variations. And here's a slightly different way. The left hand wrapped around the left ankle to stabilize the leg, coming into the downward facing dog, and then walking. So now we add turns or walking actions. This is going to lengthen one hip, as you see, in one side. Look at that one side lengthening. And then continuing into the plank posture, hands and knees, sitting back. And another way of coming into the cobra, slithering, the slithering cobra, moving around, keeping the fluidity, and finally spiraling up the spiral staircase into elevation, back to the forward bend or downward facing dog aspect. The lunge posture seen from this side, stabilizing the right knee, forward bend, and then finally lifting up through the front path, into the back path, and arriving into the full extension, resting. This is the sitting series. In sitting postures, the goal is to attain this centered position with no effort. So if we hold the positions, you can see there's tension in the body. I'm using the back muscles or holding myself up. Or many people sit with the knees raised. I am using this pillow, much like a meditation cushion, to simply create an angle that allows my knees to drop. Many people will use cushions to sit more comfortably, because if the knees raise, you are held short here. Then it's an effort. But you can use any number of sitting instruments or objects, benches or cushions, but it's important to find that place of balance. So even in sitting meditation, there is movement flow. Internally, there is a ripple, much like the fish in the water, staying still but moving the fins to maintain the equilibrium and the balance. To get the stabilization in the body that permits an effortless sitting and beginning of a calm and clear experience. Find a comfortable sitting position. If you need to use some elevation, please do. First, enter into your sitting posture. Notice how you're moving. Notice how your pelvis is supporting you. And then take your right leg. If you hold your right leg and begin moving around the sitting bone, where my right hand is, you can actually rotate without stretching the leg. You're moving at the other end. Notice that the right leg is now coming slightly forward. The direction of the knee is slightly forward. And you're rotating. The left hip is lifting and turning, and you're coming onto the right side of your hip more firmly. Now you can lift your right foot and place your right hand around your head. This way, you'll continue the movement all the way up your spine. This is called a levering effect. As you lift the leg in this manner, you're actually moving the entire body and making this circle in both directions. Continue doing this while breathing. Again, you can move more to the right. Notice how the entire upper body is participating. You can pick up the leg and make a circular motion or an excursion, and then bring it down and rotate again. The design of the movement is circular, as illustrated. Notice that my hand on the right front
tracks the front core path in turning. Then you sit quietly, take in the effects, and notice the effects entirely on the right side. Now we will side bend to the right. We'll add the number 5 path. Bending to the right brings the right hip slightly forward and shortens or contracts the right side, which lengthens the left. Again, we go around that circle, and now we reach forward. All forward reaches involve both turning and the front path. The use of the pathways in yoga will help you to get a much better sense of how your posture and energy is actually maintained and sustained. Here's an interesting movement. Inversion of the hip, bringing the leg back, holding the foot if possible. You do not have to hold the foot if it does not work at first. Bringing it in, bending slightly forward, turning the knee under the elbow, inverting or bringing the knee back and turning to the left. This action will bring you much more hip flexibility, but it will also help you stabilize when you sit again. Here, you can hold the foot and then rotate a bit, change the position of the feet from time to time, and then sit quietly whenever you want and rotate. That is, make circles on the base of your pelvis. Now, picking up the left leg and supporting it, and again dropping the knee and bringing the knee and the leg forward, but this time levering from the right hip. Look at the entire action in the body. Circling the leg, and again placing it down and placing the left hand on the right ribs, bringing them over to the left, increasing the bend and the flexibility, and then creating what we call the spiral staircase, the Kundalini effect, so to speak, as the movements travel from the right to the left side of the spine in a spiralic manner. This was known by the ancient yogis as an Ida Pingali energy motion. But now we know it to be real solid, healthy biomechanics. The way the body was designed to move in the gravity world. Here's the inversion again, bringing the leg back and turning to the right and spinning up or spiraling up to the right. There should be a comfortable movement without strain on the knee. If there is strain in the knee, you do not have to do this motion. It involves a lengthening of the muscles between the knee and the groin. If they don't lengthen, you may feel a pull on the knee. Again, if you continue this motion of passing the knee under and then coming back to sitting and going back to the circling feeling through the pelvis itself, placing your hand under or around or finding how you can better get the feel of moving through the pelvis so that the leg is not being stressed and strained and stretched forcibly. Now with the hands on the ribs, you can move from side to side of it, moving to the left hip by tilting and then sitting back, finding again that comfortable sitting position and noticing the effects. Now we concentrate on the front path, the scoop up. Feel the ball rolling inside, literally holding you, sustaining you, stabilizing you. A change in view. Seen from the side position, you can quickly see a poor posture, a curved posture, or an exaggerated attempt to stay up straight. When you find your balance, the body will seek equilibrium and be much more comfortable. Again, here's a posture of sitting, drawing up. Here's a way of improving it using the 1 and 2 paths. 2 and 1 coming forward. So as you incorporate the sense of the pathways of movement, which are also the pathways of energy flow, you're going to arrive at a place where your body is supported, and then you may enter easily into a state of calmness. Even while you're sitting apparently quietly, there is motion happening. It is the way that body physiology and neurology works. Here's an example of, again, increasing that motion of taking your hands around the jaw and around the base of the head and moving in all of the 6 pathways, sideways and forward and back and turning and then combining into a spiral, and finally coming to a resting place in a quiet mood, breathing and enjoying this elevated posture. Many people in sitting postures force the body by contracting muscles and holding. We begin to increase the ease of sitting by placing the feet together, hands in back, maintaining oneself in the center of gravity. In order to do what we intend, we must rock forward and back, up the center of gravity using our 2 familiar core pathways, the back and the front. And then adding a little turn, 3 and a 4. And adding a little side bending, a 5 and a 6. If you put all of this together, you create a grand spiralic movement. So before you sit, especially on the floor, these are the practices. Look again from the side. Here you see the back path clear and the front path. Each of these can be an asana. Now going to left and to right. The turning path. Rolling through the pelvis, not through the abdominal muscles so much. Feeling the hips move on the floor. Now creating a circular motion through the pelvis itself. The feel of the pelvis rolling around, as if there were a ball inside that you were rolling. If you move the front of the ball, the back of the ball goes a different way. Well, it's the same way, but looks different. That model of using the ball inside has the advantage of all rolling balls. The sense of an action that produces an effect on the opposite side. And the smoothness of the motion. In the next sequence, hold the ankles and continue in the same way, joining the upper and lower body a little more distinctly. The same circles, forward, back, right, left, and a little bit to the side. Rather than just holding the posture, the sense is of a stillness in motion, or a motion in stillness. This not only helps the pelvis and stimulates all of the energy centers, but is excellent for the joints. In this variation, one leg out, one leg bent in, it is a sweep across. Going from side to side by sweeping the upper body and allowing everything to configure to bring you from one side to the other. and then back. So you remain in this sitting posture, the leg extended, bringing the feet together, and then